Hello, I'm Wanderer001, and this is my 2-year review of Wealthfront. Now, Wealthfront seems to be on a 6-month cycle, so every 6 months they get new features or make changes to their website. On par with that, shortly after I made my original 2-year in review, they changed everything. So this is a second attempt at a 2-year review. Now, if this is the first of my videos that you're seeing about Wealthfront, this is just going to be a review, kind of talking about how my accounts are doing, the changes that have been made since the last video that I made. So this isn't going to go like super in depth. If you are looking for something like that, I would suggest taking a look over here in the upper right hand corner. There should be an eye popping up, which will take you to a playlist of all of the Wealthfront videos that I have done, starting with my original video and, 6-month incremental video follow-ups. So this will be my 2-year follow-up, and let's get started on all the changes that Wealthfront has made since last year, pretty much since it's 2018 currently. One of the big things you're going to notice right here is the side panel has changed remarkably. Gone are your dividends and transactions listed here. They have instead replaced it with your overall savings. So my average savings amongst all of my accounts that are connected to Wealthfront is this $900. So that's $400 from my Wealthfront IRA, $200 from my Wealthfront investment account, and $300 from my wife's Vanguard IRA, which is attached. Over here, you will notice that they kept the pending transactions listed on this front page, so that's nice. They've done some aesthetics that I am not happy with, and I will be voicing, but they have also made changes that I have made suggestions about in previous videos. So they're clearly listening to whether they actually watch my videos or not, or if there's a lot of people who are suggesting similar things. So I will be making suggestions right in this video to Wealthfront, you if you're watching. So starting off, there were some changes with the path tool. And one of the big differences is you can see now my path ends at 79. If you watch my previous video, I have it set that I die at 90. This is a change based on their mathematical formula and how they're calculating your path overall. One of the things that discouraged me a little bit was this number here. First, it does not show your entire worth. They shortened it down to this 1 point and then whatever. Now, I magically, after they flipped their switch, went from 1.4 million to 1.5 million. There are some things that I'm going to point out that I think is the cause of this. They, again, changed their mathematical formula for the path tool. So coming down to the path tool, you can see they have changed it. So it's got a little palm tree there. So you actually know, hey, this is retirement instead of that weird sailor cap they had before. So here you can see I have it set for myself and my wife retiring at 65. And then you can see our decline as we use our funds. Coming down here, you have add a path event. Now, clicking on this will allow you to select new path items. So far, they only have this windfall. So if you get a large sum of money and you want to add that into your path calculation, you can do that. Supposedly coming soon is purchasing a new home and saving for college. The college one has been promised for a while. Now, keep in mind, in early 2018, Wealthfront has gotten $75 million in funding, for venture capital. Now, the thing is, reading after I saw that they got funded, they're like, oh, we're going to change the path tool. This will give us the money to change the path tool. Literally, like 3 days later, the path tool started changing. And that's why I thought I was okay with the video I made previously, because they said we will use this money to change the path tool, but they apparently already had plans to change the path tool and quickly did it. So after adding a path event, you will notice this here, the retirement path. You can see this has changed quite a bit. Obviously palm tree and palm trees there. Retirement, this changed dramatically too. And this is part of the mathematical formula that I think changed as well. Because originally, last time I did this video, haven't changed anything, any numbers. If anything, I've actually increased my wife's contribution slightly. We were on track to have 92% of our retirement covered. Now we retire at 65 and we will only have money until 79, and they classify that as a stretch. This number here, this $6,000 a month, did not change at all. But what we see when I bring you into the path tool now, we're going to scroll down because this has changed dramatically. If you notice this orange line here, this is the money that we will have, and the dotted line up here is the money that we should have. Now, the money has changed drastically. Like they say we need a lot more now. And coming down here a little bit, you will see this is how much we're saving a month, and if we wanted to, we could do a per account breakdown. Now, this is one of the big things that I think has changed, and that's this monetary monthly thing. Because if you look, path accounts for housing and loans. So this money covers everything else: food, utilities, healthcare. I had put in my assumptions based on, including like a rental or something to that effect. Now, what they're saying is they're doing that for you so you can actually lower this. So in my case, if I give it to, like, we'll say 3,100, you'll notice that the path tool changes drastically, where up here it's comfortable and I am no longer in danger of outliving my money. Now, this is going to be where I start to request changes or features. Now, Wealthfront has made one of the big changes that I wanted, which was allowing you to edit per accounts, which I'll show you in a moment. But this sliding tool here, guys, yeah, I want to be able to put in a numerical value because that's a little tricky to do. So I'm going to leave it at 30. Well, actually, no. You know what? I'm going to put it back up to the 6,000 I had it listed at before, because that'll make some of the other things I'm going to talk about visually more accessible. You'll notice over here, it has little tips now. So it says to achieve this retirement goal of having, spending $6,000 a month during retirement, I will need to save at least $1,500 a month. Clicking this arrow over here, it says based on my current spendings. And that's the thing, like, it says based on my current spendings, but it's not attached to a credit card. It's only attached to my two bank accounts. And the cash flow that it's seeing is only based on my savings in a joint checking. It does not calculate my wife's savings account because I haven't put that in here. But we will, based on our current spending, you will need between $4,000 and $7,500 a month, depending on how comfortably we wish to live. Now, coming over, based on your planned savings rate and spending in retirement, the earliest that it says I should be able to retire is 71. And the last bit is, if I'm expecting any windfalls, hey, plug them in here and we'll add that to your path tool to kind of accommodate you here. Now, coming back to the planned savings, so this $900 a month, if I select view accounts and come down, it says I am saving 9% of my income. Currently, I am listed as a stretch. But if I come down to my wife's Vanguard account, here you'll notice that there is an edit button now, and this is something that I had requested earlier, because after clicking on the edit button you can change it. Originally my wife had $250. That's because for whatever reason Wealthfront was not pulling the correct amount, so I wanted an edit button. They gave me an edit button so I could put in the correct value. Now, the other thing that I could do with this is my savings account. They don't have any money going into my savings, any money averaging in my savings accounts, even though they can see that. So if I come over and say I am saving an average of $400 a month, which I am, I will add that to my total, and here you can see now I'm saving 13% of my income, not including whatever my wife is putting away in her savings account. And over here we go from a stretch to this is now manageable, retiring at age 65. And you will notice that the path tool has changed in kind. Now, the assumptions over here, which used to be at the bottom, if we click on show assumptions, we can see retirement. So if I click on this, it is going to give me access to a bunch of information. Each of these items, except for this one here, is editable, which I like. I'm happy that they're finally letting you edit these much easier. So under retirement, you have life expectancy, Social Security. I'm currently set for 0. If I get Social Security, it would be really nice. The other request that I have is their Social Security planning is based on you taking your Social Security at age 70. If this is an algorithm, a mathematical formula, make it so that I can change it so that I can say I'm taking it at 65 or 66 or 67. Wealthfront, I'm talking to you. Just let me plug in the number that I want. I know I get the best money if I wait until 70, but I want to see how this affects me. So if you're playing with the path tool, I want to be able to change that here too. Other retirement incomes, currently I have these set for a possible pension for both my wife and myself. Now, these two areas here are a little trickier to show. Coming back to the main page, that is all the changes that they made to the path tool. Now, you'll notice that my overall savings here has changed. So now I'm saving $1,300 a month, and I have 13% of my, as part of my average savings. Now if I click this breakdown, it will bring me back to my overall account listings, which is nice. Moving on, we have linked accounts here. They have added a feature that will allow you to manually track an account right there. So if you don't want a linked bank account, you could just click this, say I have this much money, and then you're kind of on your own to update that. So it is an option. Be aware of that. So let's talk about my returns and some of the things that they did that I'm not happy with. You'll notice, like I said, over here on the right hand side, they got rid of your dividends. They also changed it so that you can no longer expand your Wealthfront accounts on the main page. They make you click into them in order to see them. And you know what? After a while, I got over it. I got used to it. But this removing of the dividends, and once I click into, because that's what we're here to see, is how well my things are doing, coming down, you will notice that there is nothing on this page now listing the dividends either. So there's another place that you actually have to go to see your dividends. And that frustrates me because I want at a glance. Look, there's space right here. Add my dividends there. I do understand that dividends are not an indicator of the overall portfolio's success, but I want to be able to see that on this page. I'm talking to you, Wealthfront. So the other thing is, if I change this to time weighted, which is supposed to give you the better overall understanding of how your portfolio is doing, it will not remember time weighted. Wealthfront, change that. So in comparison to last 6 months ago, my time weighted return was 24.3. I am currently at 37%. If you want to check your money weighted, it was 23.8 and is currently 37.88. So everything's up all around, which is nice. Now, while we're here, I will again show you on the side panel here. It shows you repeating deposit, and it shows you how many trades you've had. Put the dividends right here, Wealthfront. The other thing is you will notice that I have $119 in cash. There's no reason for this. I have enough account balance being managed for free that there should not be this large of a sum in my cash balance. Now, the only thing that I can think of is because if you look at my target and current, for most of the guys here are pretty much on par. So purchasing something would cause this to be off balance, but then it's supposed to rebalance itself automatically. Wealthfront, seriously, consider fractional shares. Because this isn't doing anything. It's not gaining any interest. It's just sitting there. Invest it for me. Make it work for me. Consider fractional shares. A lot of other places do it. And I know they say, oh, it's for fees and things like that. There should not be $119 worth of fees for what I have. So coming back up to the top here for one moment, you will see that in 2017, I made $4,200 in contributions. It has a limit of $5,500 for Roth IRAs. You can see in 2018 I've only made $400 as of right now. If I wanted to go back and make contributions to my 2017, which I currently can do at time of filming this in early January, you would have to go and say deposit cash to this and then indicate that you want to do it for the previous year. The auto deposit will only auto deposit for your current year. If you want to go back and do the previous year, you have to do a manual cash deposit. Now, coming up to the top, we're going to select accounts. And then we're going to do my investment account because I do have an investment account that I mentioned previously. Now, I have done some changes with my investment account. But first things first, we're going to do the returns so you can see how well it's done in comparison. So Money weighted return last year was 23.80%, currently at 28.16. So that's gone up, changing it to time weighted. Time weighted last year was 7%. Currently it's at 21.49. So everything's up all around, which again is good. And again, we have this cash value. It is what it is, but I want my dividends listed somewhere on this page too. You can also see that total tax loss harvesting for the entire term. If I did 2018, it will show you tax loss harvested for this year and tax loss harvested for last year. I prefer just to leave that on all time. Now, originally I had set this up with $100 for a repeating deposit. I have since upped that to $200. For me, the $100 just didn't seem to be doing what it needed to be doing. There were some times where it only bought one asset, or it didn't buy anything and it waited until another month to purchase something. So 200 seems to be about the sweet spot for, again, my target risk score of 7 and what I'm doing with this particular investment account. Now, they have also changed the harvesting tools over here. So you have Passive Plus. Turning this on will allow each of these features to turn on automatically, which you can disable individually if you wanted to, based on your amount threshold. So tax loss harvesting is available to everybody. Direct indexing, if I ever get to $100,000 in this account, will automatically turn on. And the same thing with advanced indexing. If I get to $500,000, that'll automatically turn on. All right, coming back to the main homepage, we are going to scroll up and we're going to go to settings because I want to show you something that has changed. Under settings and then restrictions, Wealthfront has taken on this socially responsible portfolio, kind of in response to what Betterment did. But all they did was change the stock restrictions wording. When I originally signed up with Wealthfront, this said, hey, do you own any assets that you would prefer us not to sell or buy because they're trying to avoid a wash sale? And I said, yes, GE and Disney. These are things that I own. Now, to say that you have a socially responsible portfolio, you can list companies that you would prefer them not to trade with. But this tool acts exactly the same way it did previously. They just changed the wording here. And I get it. But if you compare this to what Betterment's socially responsible portfolio is, this kind of seems like they're just me too with a feature that they previously had. Okay, so back on the main page here, we're going to come to the transaction area. Mainly because I'm harping about the dividends. And part of that is because, yes, you can select dividends received per account that you have. But you'll notice that there's no total listed. I want to see a total somewhere. I need to see a total somewhere. I don't want to have to scroll through this and calculate that myself. Whole idea behind having a computer do this for you is the computer does the heavy lifting for you. Coming back to the main page, just going to do some general housekeeping. So, last 6-month period, Wealthfront changed clearinghouses, so they brought it in-house. At the time, I tested it. It took 3 days roughly for the new Wealthfront clearinghouse to take care of your transactions. Currently, it's like at 2 days. So it's gotten better and it's not that bad. Now, one of the questions I had gotten on one of my other videos was somebody who was really close to signing up for Wealthfront but decided not to because of some wording that they found in their terms of service. And those words were options and margin calls. Now, Wealthfront can do a lot of stuff that I do not use and did not cover in this video but talk about in my last video. Mainly, margin calls are for if you are going to do portfolio lines of credit. If you have no intention of doing that, because you need to, one, have an investment account with Wealthfront that's over $100,000, I believe, if I recall correctly, and then you can do portfolio line of credit. Now, that's what the margin call refers to. Now, options is kind of like for those tech companies, and they have a listing of the tech companies that they let do this. You can set up a selling schedule for your company stock. So if you own Facebook stock, because you worked for Facebook, and some of your bonuses were based on Facebook stock, you want to diversify that. You would set up a selling plan, and that's where the options come in. Now, I'm just trying to put as much information out there because I don't want you to get scared off based on something that you read, but I also want to help you understand the platform fully. For me, I like it because you send money in and it does what it needs to do. Now, one of the beauties of Wealthfront is if you sign up through the Wealthfront page itself, you will get $10,000 managed for free. If you use a referral link, mine will be in the description area below, you get an extra $5,000 managed for free. So that'll be $15,000 in total. If you use the link, I also get $5,000 managed for free, which, is very helpful if you found this video helpful. But if you don't want to use my referral link, that's fine. I understand that. But I urge you to use somebody's referral link because $10,000 managed for free is good, but $15,000 is even better. So that has been my 2-year follow-up of using Wealthfront as my primary retirement vehicle as well as an investment account. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching.